Hello, everyone. This is James Milford, head of school at Maclay School, and we are back again. As we had in our last, or as we shared in our last medical webinar, things change. They don't change daily, but certainly throughout the weeks, there are updates from the CDC, direction from local professionals, and conversations that we have as we fine-tune our medical procedures. So we're back with Nancy Ann Teams to share some updates and some more clarification as we get ready for launching into this school year on August the 12th. So Nancy Ann, I'll give it to you.
Yes, thank you. Back to school health update, Healthier Today and Tomorrow. I just want to thank all the family and faculty who reached out with questions from the previous webinar. Some had similar questions to one another, so I wanted to clarify some of those points today. And please continue to reach out. We're all in this together. So, science in action. So congratulations to each and every one of you for being a part of the scientific method. Things are evolving and changing. We are making adjustments based on research and what we're learning. So that's what we're doing. So that's why things are changing. That's why we will communicate those to you. It's not that we don't know what's going on or they don't know what's going on. It's just that we're learning more about the virus and how we can be proactive and help our local community and our greater community. So changes to the sick policy. Some of the changes they made within the CDC was to 24 hours. We are going to be a little conservative and move it to 48 hours. So we're moving it down from 72 hours with symptoms to 48 hours. Quarantine measures have also been updated per CDC guidelines. And we are obviously following those guidelines with the exception of the 48-hour symptom-free versus 24 hours symptom-free. We just really want to make sure that we're protecting our whole community with a symptom that may have been missed or on the border. So please go and visit our COVID webpage to find out that information. Well, there's also been a definition change of close contact, and that's how we identify the next group of people who would have to quarantine if they come into contact with somebody who is COVID positive. We are still focusing on the distance. That is the best way to protect you and to protect others, is to stay at a 6-foot distance. So the definitions of a close contact now consist of if you're within 6 feet of an infected person for at least 15 minutes, starting from 48 hours prior to that person beginning to feel ill or from test date. So they may have been symptom-free, tested, so 48 hours prior to that, or they started having symptoms and maybe you had lunch with them 2 days prior. You would be considered a close contact. You provided care at home to someone who is sick with COVID-19. You had direct physical contact, so you hugged or kissed them. You've shared eating or drinking utensils, or they have sneezed, coughed, or somehow got respiratory droplets on you. So I've provided the link in there as well. I'm gonna always do that. They will continue to update those links as well, but these are important for when we go back into school and just for your own education. Notification of exposure. This is probably the most frequent question that I got. So obviously I was not clear in my communication. If we have a COVID positive case on campus, we will work with the Department of Health and look at any exposures, so of those close contacts or potential exposures, and all of those will be communicated. We will always protect the identity of that individual. I see that we need to have a typo there, who tests positive. From our standpoint, we always protect their identity. Many times people want to share that. That will not be our go-to. We will protect that with HIPAA. and we will communicate those that have been in close contact and those that are potential contacts. So how it's worked previously when we had a positive case on campus over the summer, we go through the scenario with Department of Health. We've identified, so we're working with the teacher, we're working within the classrooms of who those close contact individuals may have been, obviously along with the student and the family as well. And then also if it's within a classroom, they'll be notified as potential contacts, and not where they would necessarily have to quarantine, but then give the family and students an option for that situation. Medications at school, this is another question that came up. I know we have a lot of families. So we do have the emergency medications such as epinephrine, rescue inhalers that can be stored with the students or in the classroom. Obviously, if they are, if the child's well aware of how to use their inhaler, we would rather them keep that on them. They need nursing assistance at any time. We're here to help. But that was a clarification of saying no medications on the students. Obviously, the emergency medications can be on the student or in the classroom. And actually, we encourage that as they get older. So most of our middle schoolers, all of our high schoolers should have that. Now, sometimes we do have an extra dose in the clinic, depending on the allergies, to have an extra here on campus. Another piece that was not in before but has been clarified, the use of inhalers this year will need to be accompanied by a spacer. We don't want any of the aerosols from those inhalers to be in the air for others to breathe. And all the inhalers will need to be administered outside. So the students, if they're having something, they can step right outside the door, just not in closed spaces. And also, if you do have those medications, many of you have already reached out to us in the clinic, but if you could please set up a time to drop off medications prior to the first day of school. Obviously, we want to limit the number of people on campus once the students return to campus. So please just send me an email or reach out to me at in the clinic. Mask questions. So we will not be having any mask waivers. So just please continue to work with your student at home to find a good solution if planning on being on campus. We will be creative with you. We can work with you and the student and the teachers if maybe more frequent mask breaks, but let's see how it's going and continue to work with that process at home. So there's no traditional neck gaiters or buffs. They're just made of a material that's with the knit stretch. It's not adequate in reducing the transmission of particles. There are some that are being produced that have the proper covering with a double layer of tight weave and then maybe that knit material behind. That would be appropriate, but it does need to cover the nose, mouth, go around the chin to protect that spread. And also valve masks are banned. Those have actually been banned in many states because that allows for the exhalation of air for others to breathe. So the purpose of the mask is to protect you, to protect others, and that is another mask that will not be allowed on campus. Mask acne, so that's been brought up, and then so prior to, and this is just for everybody, looking at tips how to prevent the maskne is what it's being called. So with the other, just making sure you wash your hands before applying the mask and prior to removal. That's the basic mask hand hygiene anyways, just to be very cognizant about it. Make sure your face is clean with a gentle cleanser prior to placing the mask on. Use a moisturizer. Cut back on makeup or don't use any at all. Ensure that your mask is clean. And also we'll have you bring in multiple changes throughout the day, but I mean, you could end up changing your mask 4 or 5 times throughout the day, which would be fine as well. And do not use bleach to clean your mask, because that's far too harsh to be against your facial skin. Must be completed prior to next Wednesday, the 2021 Student Health Information Update Form in Power School. So I think there's still a little bit of confusion. So there's still a medications at school form, and there's still a health history form. Actually, all 3 forms are now within that 1/20/2021. So that's where all your allergies are going to be, all your medications you're on, your permission to administer medications, your permission to treat and transport. All of that is going to be on that form. Currently, we have about 150 forms completed, and we have a lot more than that registered. So please go on. Also, like on the last webinar, the immunizations need to be up to date prior to the start of school. We really need to be aware of our vulnerable population, and especially vital for those entering kindergarten and 7th grade because of different requirements for those start dates. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to guide you and take care of the students while here on campus, and we're all in this together. And I appreciate everyone who's reaching out, asking questions, and I'm here to help support you and the students.
All right. Nancy Ann, thank you so much. And everyone, remember the maclay.org/COVID-19 page. All of the resources are going to be there. I know it is absolutely overwhelming in the 5 days between now and the start of school. There's going to be a lot of information out there. Call the office Monday and Tuesday. Always email us. Always reach out. Thank you for everything, and see you all soon.